Have you? They, sir, but you. I can play turning root to aid you. You need O to the foot. Then it's summon me. Ah, I bequeath. Use it will some torrent. Treat him with. This way, tarnished. A play and the wit I'd heard tanned upon the talk thou art but to call forth. Ah, I was entrusted by torrents. 'Tis a bell for callers summon them. The spirits now it is that.
Everyone who only to have that, did you know? It's quite a... You're all up and heading to enticed. Wow, that... But I don't have... It's scary. I want on nothing. Can you take... The poor...
forgive me to determine if you have. It seems torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering.
Papa.
Howdy.
But
Shall I turn? Let my share them with me.
you streaming?
I'm always streaming. Gotta give the crowds what they want.
I assume all the fans can hear me.
Well, the fans can hear every goddamn word, so speak carefully. And don't speak any of your blasphemy. This is a God-fearing stream.
Shadow is currently trying to find a way to free Epstein. Gonna break him out
Behind
of
the
heaven.
times, I found a way.
No, you're gonna bring him back from the afterlife, like Orpheus, but you'll be successful.
Yeah. Well, Orpheus was successful, sort of.
Wow. I mean, was his wife not turned into salt?
No, you're
Oh, wait,
thinking of
no, that's a
Lot's
biblical
wife.
thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, Orpheus's wife just disappeared. He turned and she was not there.
Is that what happened?
I believe so. The whole thing was that he had to leave Hell or Hades without turning back to make sure she was there. And then literally as he gets to the end, he turns back and I believe she disappears or is like taken.
Classic. You know, it sounds all very similar to the story of Lot and his wife. Do you think that's where the ancient Greeks got the idea for the story? You think they were
It's
plagiarizing
not too
God?
dissimilar. Plagiarizing God, maybe. Yeah, I've often heard that the Greeks just copied the Christians, you know?
Yeah. Classic Greek behavior. No original ideas. You know, I feel like I missed something.
You hear about the next terrorism attack? Or I guess not the next one. It already happened. Yeah. The fucking car that just like drove through New Orleans, killed a bunch of people.
Classic. Honestly, it's surprising that didn't happen more often.
Yeah, that was one thing. Like I was talking to about somebody where, you know, cars have always been around, but it is a very new thing of like cars being used as terroristic weapons, or at least it feels new. Like I can't remember a time when a car was like integral to a terrorist plot in terms of just like plowing it into people.
Yeah. I mean, it's as far as mass murder goes, it's got to be like one of the easier methods. Of course, it makes it
Yeah.
impossible for you to like get away with it.
Yeah, it's very much a
It's got to be one of those like I just care about killing. I don't care about getting away with it, kind of people.
Oh, what a blessed thug she is.
So I guess that cuts down the numbers. And then of those people, you know, it feels like a lot of them are probably more like they want something more grandiose or something, you know, like
Please stop, brave tarnished.
they want to blow
You will
something
only
up or,
tire by striking this
you
barrier.
know,
Besides, I am no foe of
something.
yours. Please, think this over. I see that you have reconsidered. Thank goodness.
Well, well, I spent an hour getting to fight the guy that Yura Bloody Finger fights, and he killed me. And then I spent 45 minutes getting back to that point, but I got killed by, or you know, working my way back to that point. I got killed by Anastasia Tarnished Eater because I didn't take the literal like 10 to 15 seconds it would have taken to level up with my 26,000 runes. I didn't level up my vigor at all, so she just, you know, killed me in like 2 hits.
Oi! You there? Could you help us out, Cully?
So now we're back at it.
You will just thank you. I was pushing. I ended up. Oh, when they and so this is all I hope. Or I can then.
And the New Year's event is over, and I did not get a second shiny Eradicate yet, although I do have like 4 maybe, 3 or 4 saved up in research tasks that I, you know, will finish the task tomorrow and see. So there's still a little bit of hope. I booked my hotel for San Francisco finally. Was procrastinating a lot on that. But I got a pretty cheap hotel. Digger starting tomorrow. I'm back at the office full time. Fucking kill me.
I guess are you really asking?
I mean, just throwing the
You're gonna
idea
have to,
out there.
You're gonna
Really,
have to pay me a lot. You're gonna have to pay me a lot of money.
I don't know, but I'm willing to pay for it. A lot.
What do you mean you're not willing to pay for it? If you die, you're not gonna take your money with you. You might all of it.
Well, I'd want to leave it to my heirs, you know.
Your heirs. Well,
My
tell me
my
what
estate.
is the name of your progeny?
Well, I don't have any progeny, but I have family, you know. They're my heirs. Look, it's the great Kenneth Height. Fuck yourself, Kenneth Height. You promised me a knighthood and then you don't deliver. Yeah. I mean, he's surprisingly agile for a guy in robes. I made bank this year, Digger. But it's
Sure you
tax
did.
time again.
Yes, it is.
I looked it up. Or I looked up my like year in review summary. Digger, I paid more taxes this year than my entire salary the year that I started at Amazon.
That is fucking wild.
It it feels bad. I mean, it feels great, obviously, but
Well,
like
because you're rich.
seeing that amount of tax, I have to like. There's no way to see that amount of like taxes paid and not be like oof, even though it's like
It
still the
means that you're
same
making a lot of
percentage.
money.
Like yeah, it's. I mean, I'm still making more than, uh, a lot more, but just the the number taken away looks so big regardless. And now I have to figure out the. I did some funky things with my uh, with my uh, like IRA accounts last year that I was like, I don't know what this is gonna do to me. I don't know how I resolve this in my taxes, but that's a problem for later, and later has come. Now I have to figure out what to do tax wise. Probably have to find some like weird, obscure form to fill out, or 3 obscure forms to fill out. I decided I'm going to be more financially responsible this year. Been letting things slide. I'm gonna quit that. Oh shit! This guy can climb. Oh fuck me. I guess it doesn't matter probably. Oh, it feels like it might matter, Digger. Why has he never climbed out after me before? Shit. Okay. Okay. Let's say shortcuts make long delays. Oh, Digger. Well, now I don't even have time. It's almost 11. Digger and a Zelf spawn today near me that was 0-1-0. It was almost a Nundo. So how was your New Year's Day?
Fine. Didn't really do much.
We're on number 97, Digger. My transfer takes place in 13 days.
You mean your return?
Sort of return. Return closer to where I was.
Shadow, have you ever heard of Hoppin' John soup?
Have I heard of what now?
Hoppin' John soup.
No. Just make that up.
No, and I didn't make it up.
Sounds like something someone who made something up would say.
Well, it is made of like black-eyed peas, rice, corn, sausage, some shit like that. And it's supposed to be something that you. Oh, it seems it's a Southern tradition. You eat it. Oh, well, the second thing under what is Hoppin' John is the name Hoppin' John racist?
I'm gonna go with definitely.
Yep. Well, Cakewalks, Hoppin' John, Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben. God. Why are there so many? Is Uncle Ben? I know, like Aunt Jemima, people were like, but was Uncle Ben?
I mean, I think it was debatable about Aunt Jemima. I guess I didn't ever see
So
any hard evidence.
So, was it Uncle Ben's dude was like problematic because it was like in reference to a slave. Like I thought Aunt Jemima was like like a slave, and that's why.
She was not. I believe the you know the assertion was that she was like a caricature, or they caricaturized
Okay.
her, or she played a caricature, something along those lines.
So apparently, there is a. It says due to the mammy stereotype historically in Jim Crow era, Quaker Oats, who owns Aunt Jemima, the syrup, decided to take it off. And I believe mammy is a depiction of a slave, is it not? Yeah, depicting black women, usually enslaved, who did domestic work among nursing children. So Aunt Jemima could have been a slave, I guess.
I mean, well, she
Or at
wasn't.
least, well, I guess the caricature that she played was that of a. I guess I shouldn't say that she played. It is like literally just a drawing on a bottle.
Well, I think there were. I mean,
I mean,
so
I
so
don't
the
know if
drawing
Aunt
is
Jemima
based
had
off.
a backstory.
Yeah, I mean
Is
I guess the drawing is based off a person. The person was the spokesperson or the whatever the
Oh, okay.
mascot.
Okay,
That's
I
not.
meant like Aunt Jemima as a character. I
Yeah.
assumed, since it was based off of mammy stereotypes, that, since mammies were. I do not like saying the word mammy.
No. Anyway, I mean,
Makes me feel
she
dirty.
was a real person. She, you know, I mean, I don't know if her name. I'm assuming her name was not Aunt Jemima, but there was a Aunt Jemima who
Well,
played the
yeah, it was
character
Auntie.
who the drawing is based off of, who was not a slave
You heard of the base
and who
the king.
possibly
I
I
can
think
play
did
the
like
role, turning
commercials
room
for
to
it.
aid you. You need O to the foot. Then it's summon me.
But
I
as far as
bequeath.
how much,
Use it. It will some torrent has chosen you.
as far as
Treat him with
how characterized the commercials
Shall I
were,
turn? Let my hand rest. Share
I
them
have no
with
idea.
me.
I'm gonna guess a decent bit. Shadow, let's go to a different topic. Did you watch Severance?
No.
What you're missing out. I think we talked about this. Didn't you say Severance was weird?
Um,
Or no, never mind. This was a conversation that I had with my parents. When I recommended Severance to them, I believe my mom said, "No, I don't want to watch that. That looks weird." And I was like, you literally watched a Russian movie about a were-dragon like 4 months ago. You do not have a right to tell me what movies and shows are too weird to watch." So yeah, Shadow. My mom watched a movie on Amazon
May I have
about a
a
man
pen?
who was
I'd
like,
hate to have to
I believe he was a
otherwise
were-dragon.
call for
Instead of a
mountains
werewolf,
like
he
torrents.
turned into a dragon. And
To
I
the
think it was
best
a
woman that
Beauty and the
speaks
Beast type
last.
story, where he steals away a woman. Unlike in Beauty and the Beast, where like he purchases her or something like that from the dad. I think he just straight up like steals her
well, hold
from
on.
a
Let's
village.
let's roll that back. Have you ever seen Beauty and the Beast?
I have, but it's been so long. I just remember that she is given to the count of this place, but I forget why. I thought it was because like her dad was super poor and he just like straight up bought him from her or some shit.
Uh, no.
Well, so
Uh,
what is?
her
I
her
haven't seen Beauty
dad.
and the Beast since I was a child.
So her dad, like gets lost in the woods or something and stumbles upon the beast's, mansion or whatever it is, castle. It might be a castle. Stumbles
Yeah, it's
upon the
like
beast's
a castle.
castle, and he is there and then imprisoned there for trespassing, or because the beast
Oh,
is
and
an
she's
angry
like, I'll
piece of
trade
shit.
places with him.
Yeah, that's the gist.
That
Of
for
course, I
some reason
can't.
that reminds me. Shadow, I guess, have you ever heard of the city of one person in America?
Uh, doesn't sound familiar.
There's a woman in the Midwest, lives in a city where she is the only citizen. And so she is like the jailer, the mayor, the judge. Like she has the notary. She's like every official position in this town, and she was able to apply to be her own city. Because she was able to fulfill all of the requirements to be considered a city, and she got officially certified in the positions she needed to be, and she is like every person. And she has a little jail, and she issues her own. I believe she runs like a little inn that only like fits maybe like a few people, and she has like a bar at the end and everything, and she certified her own liquor license.
That's one of those like, oh, neat, but why?
I think she got bored in her old age, or I think it was like at one point it was a small town. People left because of the lack of jobs, and she was like, I ain't fucking leaving. So she decided to like
Incorporate.
fulfill all the roles necessary to keep the city a thing. But yeah, I just thought of the idea of the beast just imprisoning a man in the brig, being like, you trespassed, so you're going to be thrown in my jail. And she could do the same thing, where she's like, I am the sheriff. I am throwing you in the brig for the night because you... Oh my god. Dude, oh my fucking god. So, my, my, my sister and her fiance were, like they did their own Christmas on Christmas Day. It's like my family usually does stuff. My immediate family does stuff on Christmas Eve, and then we usually go up to my dad's mom's house on Christmas Day. Well, my sister decided to do stuff with her fiance's side of the family this year on Christmas Day. Um, and so with my sister's fiance, his mom has some, I believe she's bipolar, or she is bipolar. She doesn't have bipolar. Who cares about the phrasing? But yeah, she is bipolar. I do not know if she was at the event. I believe it was just his niece and nephew, and then his kid, my sister, their kid, and then his niece's kid. Because his sister passed away, and so he pretty much took care of his niece and nephew for a while. But at this little Christmas gathering, his niece's son is like 3 years old, and he was joking about at the table, and he pulled up finger guns and pointed them at my sister's fiance. And given that he grew up in an area of town that was like, not the... It was a rough side of town, to my knowledge. I believe at one point I was told that, like, the drug dealer in the area was looked at as, like, it looked at favorably because he gave out shoes to all of the kids in the neighborhood so that they could, play sports and have new shoes each season. But so he does not mess around with any type of tomfoolery. He's a very strict man, very serious. And so when his niece's son pointed finger guns at him, he was like, you better put those down. Because apparently he's not supposed to be doing finger guns, but his, I guess the niece's baby daddy, his mom, does finger guns with the kid, and they pretend to shoot each other. And my sister's fiance he's not down with the idea of pretending to shoot each other, given that he has seen. I don't think he has seen like great violence, like crazy violence, like you'd see in like some bigger cities. But obviously, he has seen, some rougher thing. So he does not like that as any type of role model to be doing finger guns shooting people. So supposedly he looked at the kid and was like, "You might be able to do that with your grandmother, but you are not doing it here." And he goes, "You better put that finger gun down." And so he pulled up the finger gun, and then he pulled up a second finger gun, and he was like, "What you gonna do about it?" And so, yeah, my sister's fiance said, "I'm gonna close my eyes and count to 10. And when I open them, those finger guns better be down, and you better be eating this meal that I cooked." And as he started counting down, the kid said, "Pew, pew, I shooted you." And the thing is, like, you don't know this man. He's not like a hulking man, but he does have a very deep voice, and when he wants to be like very stern, he can be intimidating. And he got up, walked around the table, stood over the kid and said, "Put him down." And my sister said when he loomed over him and like put some bass in his voice, the kid immediately dropped the finger guns, was sitting there and started crying. And he looked at his mom and was like, "Kira," or I guess her name's Kira. He would not call her Kira. He was like, "Mom, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore." And my niece is like 6 months old. And my sister said, as my fiance is like looming over him and like angry and speaking like, sternly, my 6-month-old niece is sitting across the table with like her arms out in front of her, like intently focused on this, laughing her ass off. But she seems to enjoy watching other people get punished.
Don't we all? Well, Digger, it took a long time, but we're finally there. I was at Christmas with my family and my cousin my cousin my cousin's daughter is like, I want to say 3 now, three and a bit, and I haven't seen her in a year since last Christmas, I think. And so last time she was like hardly walking around, and she was showing off that she could like point to a nose and say nose or whatever.
Okay. And
now
now
she has
about.
Now she's always walking about, and she can string together sentences to some degree. And I was like, oh, I remember when you were this tall, and I was like, I remember when you were a baby. Like 3 years ago, you were in a I don't know what do they call those things babies
A
get carried
stroller,
in?
a baby carriage,
Baby carriage. 3 years
booster
ago,
seat.
you couldn't even talk, and here you are. So now I'm like, she was walking around like talking about her balloon, and I was like, I was the Matt Damon meme where he ages. Ugh.
For some reason, when you said the Matt Damon meme, all I could think of was the Paul Rudd meme from Hot Ones, where he was like, "Look at us. Who thought we'd be here? Nobody. I sure didn't." But yeah, I know. I don't know. I never really felt that. I think like for me, because my first niece was born when I was 20, I believe. Maybe 22. Yeah, I was either 21 or 22 when my first niece was born. So by the time she was like when I went to her baptism when she was 3, and when I saw her around like Easter, one of the holidays when she was 4, she's 5 now. Um, so like when I saw her at those big events, I was still young. Like I wasn't even 25 when she had like the things that you're talking about. So I could not. Like I remember seeing her like a year and a half ago when we went over to her house, and she was you know, showing us through the house, showing us all her toys. I think we went there for her birthday. Uh, we went downstairs and we were playing with these different toys, and she had a little mini trampoline, and she had like a little like guitar, and she likes dancing, and she was doing all these different things. I was just like, this is a cool kid. Oh, but I honestly have no idea what to call them. Uh, 'Cause it's like my sister had her when she was like young, so she gave her up for adoption, and the couple that adopted my niece, like my parents are close with them. My sister is close with them. Uh, I see them like once or twice a year for like big events, like my niece's birthday, and like usually one holiday. I'm not super close to them, but it's like we're close enough where like my dad has season tickets to football, and he gives them one of the season tickets for like one of the games every year for like the last 3 or 4 years. And it's like they say you see each other at least 3 or 4 times a year, and like they come down here sometimes for big events. I have no idea what to call them, because like I don't know, it just feels awkward saying my niece's adoptive parents. Feels clunky, but I can't really say like my brother and sister-in-law.
I don't know.
What? She's the fucking cutest kid. I know there was one time I had a coworker who has 2 kids, and let's see. I think she. Actually, I forget. So I mean, I had 3 coworkers with children. One of them. It was one of the 2 that I can think of. They were talking about their kid, and they showed a picture, and they said, "Isn't he just the cutest kid in the world?" And I said, "Nah, my niece is cuter." And they were like, "I'm gonna let that slide because we're friends, but you can't say that to anybody." If somebody shows you a picture of their kid, you say, "They are so cute. Yeah, they're the cutest kid in the world." She's like, "It's pleasantries. You gotta do it. You can't say, no, they're not." You're like, that's really rude. And I was like, well, I can't lie to you. My niece is cuter than your kid.
Can't betray your niece like that.
Yeah. My niece has dimples. Any kid with dimples, you're like, that's a cute kid. They're gonna go far. What do you think it is about dimples that like gives an added level of cuteness to a kid? That makes you go from like aw to aw.
I don't know that I even agree with the premise.
Do you think dimples make kids uglier?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, uh, the guy I referred to as my cousin is actually not my cousin. He's my second cousin, or my first
Yeah.
cousin once removed, maybe. I can never remember which is which. And so his daughter, I guess all his children, I have no idea what to call them. I guess they're just second cousins now, or first cousins twice removed.
Well, I can
I
tell
guess I
you
just say
for,
cousin, right? Like
for
you
the
just
children of my cousins, I don't call them anything. I don't really. I believe one of my cousins has 3 kids now, or at least 2 kids, and one is on the way. I think I have only seen him once since having his first kid. I don't think I've even met the second kid. And I believe I only saw the first kid like 2 years ago when it was a fresh baby because they wanted to bring it back to my grandma so that she could see him. Because they live out in California and they never come back.
well, I see my cousin and his children a couple times a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving ish, usually depending on what the plans are. But honestly, I can't remember. I can't remember all their names. He has 4 children. I remember the youngest one because I was around when she was born.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuck. The other ones, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I know any of my cousin's children's names. And
I mean, I
know
haven't spoken.
my actually, I just thought about this. My other cousin on my mom's side has like 4 or 5 children. I think I might have met 1 or 2 of them like 5 years ago. I have no idea what any of their names are. I don't even really see him because he is a very religious person, and his sister is a lesbian, and they do not talk to each other. So whenever his sister comes around to holidays, he is usually not there.
Well, I probably haven't said, you know, 10 words to any of the children.
Why would you?
I
Not a
mean,
productive conversation.
they're not great conversationalists. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not great at games.
Oh, what a blessing. The thug should please. The thug, please.
Yeah, I'll get your necklace back. Yeah, so and 2 of them, he's got identical are identical twins. So I couldn't even guess which is which, if I can remember. I want to say they both start with, I want to say it's like Logan and Levi. So they both start with L, which is just rough. So I guess I do know all their names. But I have no idea what relation they are to me.
Please stop.
I gotta find something real
You will only tire
Do with a
by
question.
striking this barrier. Besides,
What's
I
that,
am
Digger?
no foe of yours.
I said I'm looking for something real quick, but I'm gonna prompt you with a question in just a minute or so.
I think after it hits cousin level, you just say cousin, and it doesn't really matter. Jonathan's my cousin. His children are also my cousin.
Yeah.
The younger cousins.
Okay. I was
His wife
checking
is my
on something.
cousin.
So
His mother's my cousin.
So real quick,
Yep.
on one of the sports teams for UK, there was a girl named Maddie, and her sister just transferred to one of the teams, and her name is Molly. And I was checking to see if they had a third sister with another name that started with M. Luckily, they don't have a third sister with a name starting with M. Or I guess I say luckily. I guess I'm not that invested in it. I'm kind of indifferent to the idea of it. But what do you think about naming all of your children with the same first letter name?
I think it's just... It's stupid. To a degree. I mean, like...
It's one of those things where if it's coincidence, then you're like, okay. If it's purposeful, you're like, why are you putting this constraint on yourself?
Yeah, and you know, 2 children, okay. 3 children, what are you doing? After 4, it's, I don't want to say criminal, but...
So how do you feel? I believe George Foreman had like 7 Georges and a Georgina.
I mean,
Do you
he's
think
just a piece of shit.
at that point you're like, okay,
Now, hold
you know
on.
what? I see
Did
where
he
you're going with
have
this.
7 different, you know...
Read my names, isn't this the round table? I never knew the guidance, although...
Did he have children with 7 different women?
I have no idea. So it looks like, well, I just looked up George Foreman, and it seems, oh wow. So in the spouse section, it had 2 names, and then it had a more hyperlink. And I was like, uh-oh. But what I find interesting is one of the spouses was from 92 to or 82 to 85, and then the second spouse was just the year of 85, and I was like, oh, okay. He's been married to her since 85, so that's to present. I thought he was just married to her for the year of 1985. But it looks like he has 5 spouses. But his children, Shadow, which I will try to find the names of real quick.
I mean, even if it was from 7 different women, I guess you tell me he has 7 children named George, he's a piece of shit. Now, he becomes even more of a piece of shit if that's like all the same. You know, if those are like, it's one thing.
My guess is, real quick. So it seems he had 5 male children, in which he named seemingly. Oh wait, there's a George Foreman the 6th. So. Oh wait, no, that would make sense. That actually makes sense. He's George Foreman the 1st. There are 5 George Foreman kids. So, yeah, you know how like you can be a like John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt the 2nd because you are not a junior, but you have a relative of your father, or like, an uncle or a grandpa or a great grandpa had the exact same name. So technically,
Honestly,
you're a second.
I had never even considered that that's the difference, or that that would be the reasoning.
I believe that is the reasoning. You are a
I
second if you have the same name, but it is not your father.
Yeah,
You
I
would
just
be a
assumed
junior
that
if it
was
is your
just
father.
someone wanting to sound more official or more like fancy than to use junior. I had not even
Uh,
considered.
yeah, I guess so. Like George Foreman's kids, there is a George Foreman Jr., but then there is a George Foreman the third. Because technically, even though he is named after his father, there is another person between him and his father being named George Foreman.
Okay,
So there's George. So he has 5 kids named George Foreman.
so
I
yeah, I mean, so
assume from
he's
the
just a
5
piece of
different
shit.
women. Well, so there's George Foreman Jr., George Foreman the third, George Foreman the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth, and a Georgetta.
Okay, that a George Etta.
Yes, I thought it was a Georgina, but it's a Georgetta.
Georgina and Georgia are names that already exist. Okay, so this guy's an asshole, and
Well, Shadow, you have to remember he was a boxer. His brain might be scrambled.
I mean that's just absolute piece of shit behavior. I would
But
hate
he
my
has
parents.
12 children, 5
12.
sons, 5 sons, all 5
Well,
of which are named George Foreman.
well, at least only one of the 7 daughters is named George.
Yeah.
God, what a piece of shit.
So it looks like of the other one, Courtney Isaac, Michi,
I'm sorry, what was that one?
Michi,
Michi.
Michi, Michi. I think it's Michi,
I think it's Mishi,
Michi.
but I have no
Oh, like
basis
an
for that.
sh. No, I could see that. I'll allow
I
it.
don't know why I
There's a
think that.
there's a Frida, a Natalie, and then one that I am I said Michi, possibly because I was primed by the. Have you ever seen the line where I was like, Zendaya is Michi? Maybe it's a
Uh,
TikTok.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like there's a Yeti movie, and somebody was like going down the line of the Yeti poster things that were posted on the side of like a building that he walks by, and he just started naming off each actor as their thing, and then for some reason maybe he was singing the entire time, but he sings like Zendaya is Michi, and it became a whole thing. But there's one kid that I'm unsure how to pronounce her name. It is spelled Leola. Leola? Leola? Oh shit, that can't be Layla.
No.
Do you think that could be
Do I
Layla
think it could be
Foreman?
what?
Leola.
That's definitely Leola or Leola maybe. Six Georges. What a cunt.
Well, 5 Georges. There's just a George the Sixth because he is George the
Well,
First.
5 Georges and a George. George.
Yeah, technically 6 Georges if you're including the dad.
I'm including the Georgetta.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. I forgot about Georgetta.
It counts. It counts more than the others, in fact, because you had to go out of your way to make it a name that doesn't even exist.
The thing is, you don't. It could have, or I guess
Well, I
yeah.
guess no. Sorry, I mean he didn't have to, but he chose
He didn't
to.
have to because it could have been Georgia. It could have been Georgina. I guess you are correct that he went out of his way to specifically create Georgetta because it allowed him to put George in its entirety in the name. That is
Absolute
a
cunt.
good pickup, Shadow. I did not even think about the idea that he entered Georgetta, not because he and maybe it's partially because he liked it more, but specifically because he could put the entirety of his name in it in as George, and not Georgina or Georgia, which is not his entire name. But that is fucking hilarious that he used it specifically so that he could so that he could get his full male name.
So I guess my answer is, to a certain degree, just makes them bad parents. You know.
You could definitely sway me on the idea a little selfish.
There's a Reddit, there's a subreddit called Tragedy, but it's spelled very, very strangely, and it's all about what the absolute fuck. It's all like, you know, about people giving really shitty names to their children, like, you know, picking a normal name and choosing to spell it in an incomprehensible way just to, you know, stand out. That subreddit is full of bad parents, or, you know, full of examples of bad parents. I'm pretty firm in the camp that you shouldn't name a child after someone who is currently alive. I mean, asterisk, someone who's currently alive that you know. Like if you're, you know, naming your child, you know, after your favorite basketball player or something. You know, that's one thing. But I do not think people should be giving out junior names.
Well, Shadow, I'll be honest. I have not been listening to you for the last like 45 seconds.
Okay.
But I think you're going to give me a pass on this one because I was
Oh, am I?
a video, a YouTube short crossed my eye. And the YouTube short was Congress introduces a bill to reduce skull fucking.
Only reduce?
Exactly. You can't stop it. But, you know, I had to watch the video, Shadow.
Of course.
And it is,
You gotta know
it
how
is
it's
an
going to
old
impact
white
your
man.
day-to-day.
It was an old white man walking up and saying, I don't need to get out the statistics. You know, we have all heard of a grandmother being bull-fucked in front of her home while the neighbors just sit by and watch. Store owners get bull-fucked by two gang members at the same time in front of their store. And we can't use the same excuses of, oh, police are just so busy, they don't have time to deal with all the bull-fucking. We can't arrest every misguided youth that rips out a woman's eyeball and penetrates her eye socket. And I believe they named it ocular penetration. And top comment was, as long as they don't take away my God-given right to skull fucking self-defense.
That's mildly amusing, Digger.
What were you talking about? Sorry for the distraction.
I was saying
No, I'm not
I'm
sorry
pretty
for the
firm. I'm pretty firmly of the opinion that you shouldn't name a child after someone who is currently alive.
You should name 5 children after yourself. 6 children after yourself.
Someone who's currently alive that you know.
Why?
I mean, shut the fuck up, Ira.
I guess not. I mean, it's a personal opinion. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just asking, like, why.
I mean, I guess it falls under the category of, you know, you're kind of being selfish with your naming, like just naming your kid for you, you know, not like thinking about the fact that they have to have a name that they now, you know, are not going to feel is their own. Potentially. I mean, obviously some people wouldn't care. Or, you know, some people would not care, but yeah, head off the potential identity.
Yeah, I guess
issues.
I will say, on your point of you're naming your kid for you, I will say the idea of naming 6 children after yourself, I will agree that is selfish. And you could argue that naming a child after yourself is selfish. But technically, every name that is given to a child is given to them for the parent and not for the kid. The parent gives a name that they like. It's not because they're like, I think that this kid looks like this, or this kid will really like the name this. It is, I like this name. Like Noah really likes the name Lily. So he wants to name his firstborn daughter Lily. And that's not because, you know, he thinks she'll like it. I mean, he hopes she likes it, but it's because he really likes that name. So I would say technically every name that is given to a child is more for the parent than the child itself.
I mean, that's true, but some are more for the parent than others, if you will. I mean, like if Noah
and that
wanted,
is true, and that's
if Noah
what I'm
really
saying.
liked the name Slagathor, you know, that would also still be just for him. But you can make
Slagathor the Revenger. That's her middle name.
Use your best judgment to guess that a child probably is not going to like that name. So.
Well, I guess real quick, what do you think of the idea? Like, I there are probably some people who actually do this, but like, have you ever seen a movie, TV show where like a super person is like, yeah, we let our kid choose their name at 8 years old, like 5 years old, or 12 years old, or whatever the thing was?
I mean,
like in Ted Lasso, there's a character who says, you know, we let our children name themselves at 5. And I'm going to find the names of those children.
I mean, you know, there again, it's a sliding scale. Like, as with everything you do with raising a child, like, you should give them, you know, independence as you can, while still, you know, looking out for their best interests. Like, you know, if the child was like, actually, the name Lily, I prefer that to, you know, Sandra, which is my current name, I'd be like, okay. But if the 5-year-old is like, I want to be Princess Twinkletoes.
Real quick, his name is Zava, and he said, we let our children name themselves at 5 years, or once they turn 7. One of their names is Ugly, the other is Schminkus Dingus.
Yeah. See, there you go. that should have been a case of this fictional scenario should have been a
And
case
I am
of
delighted by Schmingus Dingus.
the parents should have vetoed that.
But it is what the chill is.
Alternately, this could be a case of, you know, a time based. Like, hey, talk to me again in, you know, 2 months,
Hello?
and we'll see if you're still
The servants.
committed.
My good father decided to... the servants, they've since come. I fear it's please. Would you mind my soul with please? Thank
I will
you.
deliver the letter.
Deliver.
Yeah. Castle Morn, you say? Okay. This way? Okay, I've upgraded my health.
God,
This
shit.
time I'm not.
I'm reading a comment, and somebody abbreviated as far as I know into AFAIK, and it took me a second to be like, the fuck is that acronym for?
So it's a common acronym in the software developer world,
Is it?
or at least at Amazon. I guess I can't speak for the whole software developer world. Might be just a whole business world thing.
I also saw an acronym JBOL, which I assume just busted out laughing.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I that's the only thing I could assume from the context, because like somebody wrote it talking about how they found something very funny. Like JBOL. What are you talking about? I am not an acronym guy. I just not about it. Don't really care for emojis. Don't care for acronyms. The only acronyms that I am down with are like for organizations. FBI, NBA, NFL. The DoD. I'm a big fan of the DoD, like the symmetry. How do you feel about pronouncing acronyms? Like Wizards of the Coast is WOTC, but people call it WOTC.
I'm okay with it to a degree. Like, some people, you know, I guess it depends on how coherent it is.
And I will say, so like, real quick, Bryce, when we were in high school, or maybe it was in college, he started saying Lamau instead of LMAO.
Yeah, very common.
And yes, and it got to the point where I also started saying Lamau, but I forgot that Lamau was an acronym. Like it LMAO, I understood in my mind when I say Lamau, I understand how it's spelled, and it means like I'm laughing. But it got to the point where it almost became a word unto itself that had meaning instead of being an acronym, if that makes any sense. Because I would only say Lamau, and it got to the point where I had said it, and I was like, at one point I thought about it and I was like, I completely forgot that this is an acronym. Because as I said, I am not really big on acronyms, and I texted LMAO to somebody, and I was like, I don't like that. For some reason, when I say Lamau, it doesn't register in my mind as an acronym. So when I say it, it doesn't feel as bad as when I type it. I know it sounds so fucking stupid and arbitrary and weird. But But yeah,
Yep, you're a doofus.
aren't we all?
Well, speak for
I mean,
yourself.
I know you are.
Can't believe they're making us come to the office every fucking day. You know, some lucky bastards don't have or have limited office space, so they're not being made to come back yet.
Damn.
One of those, just like last time, they announced, you know, that everyone was getting 5-day RTO, and then eventually they were like, well, since we can't even manage to get offices for these people, you know, they're not going to have to do it because they physically
Take
can't
some
do
extra
it.
time.
Yeah. Last year we were in that group. You know, RTO 3 was supposed to happen in like July, but we didn't actually have to do it until September. But not so lucky this time. I'm now thinking that before I agreed to transfer back to space, I should have had a, what's the word? Subtle? No. Should have had a delicate? I should have had a talk with my, you know, what will be my new manager and ascertained exactly how, you know, strict he's
So
going to
your
be
new
about.
manager. I thought your new manager was gonna be your old manager.
No, no. I told you I'm going
Mo,
back to the same org but a different team. But it's a
oh,
team, the team that my old team, you know, works closely with. But it will be a different manager. You know, a manager that I know.
sucks to suck.
But I should have found out.
Are there any managers that you're just like, God, what a fucking idiot?
Not so far. Honestly, I guess I've been really lucky. 'Cause so far, I've not encountered. Well, that's not true. I've encountered people who I thought they were just idiots, or like, you know, either an idiot or, you know, not doing their job or something, you know. But not like people I actually worked with.
I will
These
say,
are like people
dude,
I encountered.
I work with my brother-in-law, and I'm just like, there are times that I ask him to do things or like double check on things and say things, and like he has responses to me as if like that's a simple thing or like that's a dumb question. And I'm like, if you understood the context in which I'm asking it, you'd understand why this is necessary. I was like, I'm not asking you to do these things because like I want to waste your time. I'm asking you to do these things because we have to do them.
Anyway, none of the people I've ever worked with, like none of the people on my team or any of the teams that I work closely with has ever, you know, been someone who I was like, you know, thought they were like a bad employee or, you know, bad at their job or whatever. I mean, anytime you go online and look at like Amazon jobs, or like, you know, people talking about working at Amazon, that is, you know, based on what everyone says, it's a hellscape.
Yeah.
But I've never experienced any.
And I assume
like
it's hellscape on like the business side.
Maybe. Well, I mean, where it's usually software developer, you know, forums or whatever. Of course, that's also probably like, you know, I don't go on Reddit and post about how great everyone on my team is. So, might be what I'm sure there's a name for that kind of bias, but I don't know what it is.
I think it's
The 5-star bias. 5-star, 1-star.
Yeah, it's like you only give your commentary if it gives a distinct, very positive or very negative reaction.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's something that like Noah and I talked about. It has stuck with me because like there was that whole thing with his girlfriend and his family when he had her over, like, because it was like a really rough time. I think like his girlfriend came to town for a month, for like the first time over like a Christmas break, and it was like his grandpa just had heart surgery, his sister just had like full reconstructive surgery on her knee, and like all this stuff was going on, and his girlfriend was having issues with like speaking English for long periods of time, like wore her out mentally, so she just like didn't really talk to him much. And it's so like everything that they were talking about, and I heard like the recording and everything, but I think I talked to Noah about like, I was like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, your mom and sister are talking like every story that you have of her is like negative, like, and the stories that they're telling me really negative. And he was like, well, like whenever they ask me about what's going on with her, like they want information, and me saying she's doing fine is not satisfying for them. But the only real details that are interesting to share are negative stories. Like usually it's negative stories that are the funniest or the most like lasting in terms of like what's described. So like I talked to Noah's dad about like things between us, and Noah's dad has like a preconceived conception of you based on things that I've told him about you. And the one thing that I told him about you, so I heard the two main things I think we've told him about you is, or I'd say three. One, the fucking hilarious story about you losing your mind playing Dota that one time, and you said you wish that that man had the experience of his family getting cancer and dying. And I understand you've grown since then, but it was one of the wildest things I'd ever heard you say.
Hey, I still wish that guy experiences his family getting cancer and dying.
And we bring that up to his dad every once in a while as well, just because it's fucking hilarious. The idea that you made the distinction, and because you made the distinction that you didn't want his family to get cancer, just that he experienced the idea of it. When we were like, okay, sure.
I've got
The
nothing
other
against
thing
this man's
was
family.
the other the other thing was when we had like a discussion on abortion, and I listened to the podcast of the three um like law professors that worked at Michigan, and I was talking about how they were arguing that the way that Roe was codified originally, like in Roe v. Wade in the 80s, they could have gone down one of two paths, and I said something about how like they believe that this other path was the better path for it to being cemented as like an inalienable right, essentially because like there are, I think it was like if it was a distinction based on gender, then you know it could therefore be, it would be more permanent in a way, or much harder to get rid of, because once you make something based off of like in the Constitution, if you base it around the idea of the protection based on like gender, religion, race, like those types of protections are much stronger in the Constitution. I think because of how it was like how it's phrased, how it was interpreted, stuff like that over the years. And I remember when I was trying to explain to you like their argument, you were like, I don't think that works. And I was like, I'm probably not explaining it perfectly, but you know, I was like, this is the avenue they were going down. And you were like, I don't think that would hold up. And I was like, well, they're law professors. You have a philosophy degree. I think that they know more on the subject of, you know, the federal court system.
Not this time, Anastasia Turner Cedar.
But yeah, I guess that is a long roundabout way to explain why you probably are mainly saying negative stuff about Amazon and not like, you know, the vacation policy for your coders being like very nice. I think you have a very good vacation policy from what I've heard.
Seems pretty good. I have no conception
overall,
of how it stands up to, you know, other software companies or anything.
Yeah, I guess I can only think about this through the spectrum of like business and finance, and like especially for like the level you were at when you first came in, there are not those types of the amount of pay you got combined with the benefits you got, you would not be able to find that anywhere in my industry for the level of position you're in.
I am so lucky that I A, applied to Amazon, and B, you know, got the job at Amazon. Because I don't know if you remember, Digger, but when I got the offer, I was like talking to you guys and I was like, did they make a mistake? Did they accidentally, they couldn't have added a 0 because then the salary wouldn't make sense anyway. It would be way too low.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't make sense as is. This isn't right. And
yeah,
I was like,
I remember you being like, this is a lot of money.
And I was like, is this a binding contract? Like, if I accept this, can they not back out of it?
And I
was
remember
looking
at
like,
the time. Sorry.
Because I was looking for like, you know, I was hoping for like 80,000, but I would have accepted like 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember at. Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, go ahead.
You paused, and I thought that. At the time, that was when Justin was still like on the warp. Because don't you remember around the time that was when the whole story about like, you know, your mom having financial troubles and your brother dropping out of college for it, and you being like, nah, I'm good. I think I still believe that was true. And at the time, Justin was very critical of your thesis. And he I don't know if he is seemingly, he believed that you did not deserve to pass your thesis paper. And that the idea that like the first thesis paper that you created failed after working on it for like 8 months, and then you had to switch up very late into the process. And
Well, I didn't switch anything.
I thought originally it was like dots and boxes, and then that did not work, so you had to change to like tic-tac-toe.
No.
I guess it was still all machine learning, correct?
Yes.
So I guess you didn't have to change anything. You just had
I
to
didn't
change the
change
game.
anything. I just, well, no, I didn't change the game. There was no change.
I thought you were originally doing dots and boxes, and you said that like the whatever the coding for it didn't work, like with the AI that you're trying to make.
No, it worked. Well, asterisk. The software worked. I did not get any good results from it.
Yeah. So then you went to tic-tac-toe, correct?
No. I don't know how many times I got to say that. There was no change. I did exactly what I set out to do.
You did
It's just that
tic-tac-toe.
what I set out to no. It's just that what I set out to do didn't actually produce any like results. Or, any good results. I mean, it had a result.
So I mean, what was the result? Just inconclusive.
I mean, basically, it did not. I was not able to do what I was hoping to do. Or when I was not able to produce a.
Yeah, I was like, what was the goal? Because I remember you were trying to make an AI learn the dots and boxes game. I assume to do it in like the most efficient way possible.
Well, not not exactly the most efficient, but yes, the goal was to.
I assume it was to win, correct?
Yeah, I mean to win. Yeah.
But I guess you usually win by doing it in the most. I guess winning in the most efficient way possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the point. The
So
point is that it was not like analytical. It was like a. It was a machine learning model. So machine learning models are not necessarily the most efficient. They produce good. They produce good results, but not necessarily the best results. Because they're undirected.
And so, what exactly was the results that you said were inconclusive?
I mean, the results where it just didn't
play the game.
It didn't play the game. I mean, it played the game. It just didn't do it significantly better than when it started. After training. Which could have been for a number of reasons, needed more training, needed more processing power, who can say?
I just remember the entire time that you were like finishing up your thesis and presenting it, because it didn't work and like it didn't get better. I remember Justin was pretty much railing against you, being like, you don't deserve your master's degree.
Oh, Justin can go fuck himself.
I mean, you remember that, right? Like, I
mean,
distinctly remember him, like, saying it to your face a couple times. Right? Not face-to-face, because we were online, but, like, saying it to you. I don't remember
specifically.
I don't think he was, like, aggressive to you, but I want to say I remember him being like, Shadow, so your thesis was making an AI that doesn't work, and he's like, cool. He's like, you don't deserve the master's degree.
Well, you hear that? Justin Digger's trying to drag you into the dirt. Years later, he's pulling up your tweets from 2005. Where you said some off-color things.
Trying to cancel you when you called Shadow the N-word.
Well, I mean, I guess...
I don't know if he was serious. My guess is it was probably like half joking. I doubt he like genuinely was like, I want Shadow to fail, and I want, like I don't, and I want him to fail. Like I don't think that was.
I mean, I was concerned at the time because I didn't have results. I didn't have actionable results. So I was like, I mean, not that they couldn't have failed me even if I had produced good results, if my, paper wasn't good or something, but the fact that I didn't have results meant they had to, like, they only had one thing to judge me on, which was like how, did I produce a good, experiment and write about it, well and
Yeah, it's like,
whatnot. It's like,
did you do the work, and can you explain what happened? I feel like that's really all they care about. It's like, even if you weren't successful in what you did, because like a big thing with my master's program in finance, it was like you had to create a DCF, which is like a designated cash flow model, and you had to say, hey, this is what I project earnings to be. This is what I project, the total revenue streams. This is what I expect their like working capital and their expenses and their taxes and this and that based on past performance and based on what I think future markets are going to look like. And then you put it into your calculations. You can even spice it up if you want to add a little bit of like randomization, whatever you want to do. And then it's like it pumps out a number. You look at that as like your base value. You take the shares and everything, and you take their debt and their equity, and like you add it all up, and you find out what the specific value of the company you believe it is from that. And technically, it did not matter what value you found, as long as you could say, I came to this value for these 5 reasons, and like these are why that it is going to perform this way, and this is why I believe it is therefore worth this price. And then it's like, and because I believe it is worth this price, and I believe it's worth $100 and it's currently $88, I believe that we should buy this stock for the school portfolio. And in the end, even if you were horribly wrong, even if the professor thought that like your valuation for the stock was like $20 off base, as long as you like gave a reasonable explanation for why you believed it should be that way, they're just like, we support you. Because in the end, I mean, like a lot of stock market, it's just fucking speculation. I mean, obviously some people have insider information. Obviously, there's a shit ton of public information, and the stock market is essentially based off of what everybody believes it should be worth. But randomly, shit can go wrong, like pandemics. And then the stock market gets real wonky. It is still weird though that we have like a lot of weird conflicting financial information over the last few years since the pandemic that have a lot of people confused. Like in the past, you'd be like, oh, well, whenever stocks are down, bonds are up. And whenever bonds are down, stocks are up. And then it's like, after the pandemic, they're like, wait, they're both down? What does that mean?
all right, we're getting close.
Oh. Shadow.
Time to see if my new strategy will pan out. You know, if this I guess she's a bloody finger. If Eleonora does not despawn, I'm fucked.
That's unfortunate. I'd rather you not be fucked, Shadow.
Me too. Honestly, I may be able to defeat her. You know, even so. Well, of course, you know, last time I made her run off a cliff by accident. So I could just, if I could just replicate that. So I have three options. One, fight her straight out. Probably not a good idea. Two, get her to fall off a cliff. Feels a little bad. Three, run away far enough that she despawns. That's my preferred option.
I think you should just man up, Shadow. Get your problems head on.
I cannot man up. She is way too high a level. Or, you know, I guess they don't have levels, but, you know. I am not high enough of a level to fight her. Especially not since I've only ever fought her like once before, so I only vaguely know some of the moves she does. We'll see. It may come to that. There's also another like non-respawning enemy that spawns in this church, and I don't know what it's gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen right now because normally Yura isn't there when I arrive, so this will be the first time. Eleonora, it seems like no match for you. I sliced off my finger, blah blah blah. Nagakiba summoned, or not summoned. Nagakiba acquired. We're gonna find the way off this. That's obviously too. Oh shit. Digger?
What's up?
She just immediately left. Like, almost instantly.
She was proper scared of you.
Okay, well that's... I mean, I'll take it. So now I have the Nagakiba. I forgot I actually need I need to, like, level up my strength and dex, maybe. I need to level up some of my levels in order to be able to wield that. I don't know which ones. So that puts a bit of a damper on the whole endeavor. Okay, the Nagakiba requires oh my god, 18 strength and 22 dex. Shit.
I'll be.
Okay. Fuck me. Holy crap.
Oh, get my
I guess that's the downside. Probably should have thought of that before I made this whole new route specifically to... Okay, but what's weird is it currently shows me it's 12 strength, 15 dex. What's my 12 and 15? Yeah, at some point I had more. I must have had some equipment that was like increasing my dex and strength, but I don't know what equipment that was. This puts up a damper and things. So I need like 13 more levels before I can use this. Ah, fuck me. That kind of ruins everything. Well, no, hold on. Wait a minute. It doesn't... Because I'm two-handing it. Doesn't two-handing it, like, make you need less? Maybe it doesn't do that in...
I believe it makes you need like 25% less strength or 50% less strength. I think 25, or maybe it's like thirds. Fuck, who cares? I believe it lower.
Okay, well... Fuck me. I've done a lot of work and I don't think it's going to avail me at all. I did all that extra work to get the Naga Kiba early, but it turns out I needed a bunch of levels to actually use it. I thought I was going to be able to get Smithing Stone 6s early, but I actually can't. So where does that leave me? I think it leaves me nowhere. Or even like I'm back at the basic strats I've always been using. Except now I've reached the Altus Plateau, so some of the enemies and the people have, like, changed. I don't know who. But some NPCs are no longer where they should be. Some bosses are probably despawned. I think Radon has already despawned. Or sorry, I mean Radon's whatever has already started his party.
Cheers for that.
I need souls. I need runes. I need runes. I need... What did I say? How many levels? 12 levels?
50.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. I needed 13 levels. I got a couple already. Gonna start killing some bosses, I guess. You ever find it funny that the Wizard of Oz's name is Oz?
I mean, do you think that Oz is named after Oz?
I don't think so. Could be.
Or do you think that he changed his name?
That
So,
is possible.
I guess I'm assuming it wasn't a coincidence.
Serendipity. Can't believe I spent the first couple of playthroughs, or first couple of Deathless runs, harvesting all the fin beast bones and whatnot to make my own arrows. What an idiot I was.
Truly.
It is not at all worth the time. Maybe if you're using like poison arrows or blood arrows or something, you know, to get the effect. But just regular arrows. Just buy them for 20 pop.
Have a safe journey.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be out for a minute.
Okie doke.
Chat with you another time. See you.
See ya.
But I can also that you're not then. Why not? I am Carly. The howl of all. I suppose. Next time you don't fry just that.